to see you.
I know. It's been a while.
I know. Good evening, everybody. It has been way too long for Callie and I. It's been, like a few months since we've been on to actually have a show. The last one we had was the dating app, and that's been a while. So we have an awesome show for you guys tonight. So if you are live, please say hi. Help share. Let us know where you're watching us from. Kelly, I don't remember if you posted something about tonight's show.
I did.
You did. Okay.
I did.
It shows how much how busy I've been, at least. I have not been able to engage as much as I would like, but we are so excited to be here tonight, you guys. We have an amazing show with Maiyia, our singer, one of our Hmong singers, and we are going to be talking to her about a lot of different things. And so I hope that you guys stay tuned and join us, engage with us, ask questions. Again, if you're live, say hi. Let us know where you're watching us from, and we will get started here in a couple of minutes. Callie's sharing it onto her personal. I'm going to go in and share it on mine, and then we will get started. I hope you guys are having a good, say Tuesday already, or say so much Tuesday.
Yeah.
Goodness, all my days are kind of like mixing up with each other.
People have better let me share into their groups too. Or else you are being a hater and you're not supporting.
I know. I think that's the thing. We talk a lot about like Hmong supporting Hmong people. Hmong, what happened to that, So, which reminds me, I got to share it into one of the other groups too, Kelly, and I don't think you are part of that. So,
Okay.
Let's see. Again, if you are live with us, say hi. Let us know where you're watching us from. Help us share.
Yes, we are not singers, but we are creators, and we also need your support. And sharing is completely free, so definitely please help us share. That really does help a lot. Hi, Gambao.
Hello, hello.
From Wisconsin.
What was I going to say? I know it's been too long. We haven't been on to say hi. So I don't know if a lot of people are expecting us to be on or even saw our post from today, but we are excited to be back. It's our first show since our break. I think we took like all summer off.
Yes.
Really. I mean, the last episode we had with the dating app wasn't even really like a planned episode. It was just us kind of missing the live scene and wanted to come on and test that out live with all of you. And so we've been gone since like June or July. So it's been quite a long time. It was a really good time off. We were able to do a lot of stuff with our kiddos. So it's been nice. But we're back with shows, I think every other Tuesday or every Tuesday till the end of the year. So you'll see a lot more of us. Ooh.
Hi. From Minnesota.
Hello.
Thanks, Hmong, Florida, for approving my post. I'm gonna call out all the groups that support, and I'm gonna call out all the groups that do not support. Okay,
That's
so
right.
y'all better We're be hoping y'all
Yeah.
support. Just kidding.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it wouldn't make sense for you to post this into a Hmong selling,
Yeah. I will
Hmong
post,
clothes
yeah.
addict or something because
Yeah,
it
I'm
just
posting it to all the communities, so definitely please let me in.
yeah,
Yes.
yeah. And if not, please let us know why, because this is a community
Yeah,
effort conversation here, right?
exactly.
Yeah. Kai
Thank
says
you,
welcome.
Shy. I was thinking it was you that was, the, ambassador, the gatekeeper for Hmong, Florida, so thank
I
you for allowing
know.
us to come
Thanks,
in.
Chai. Thank you for always supporting us. We appreciate you. All right, Callie, you ready?
Yes. Alright, so, thank you so much for joining us. Oh, wait, did we do introduction? Alright, you
It's
start us
been a
off.
minute. It's
I
been a minute.
know!
That's okay. But they can clearly see our names. Obviously, this is All That Talk show. Thank you so much for tuning in. We really appreciate you being here. We know it's been a minute, but again, if you're just joining us, we have an awesome show for you guys tonight. It's been a minute since we've been here, but thank you for coming back and saying hi. Um, I am your co-host Olivia.
I'm Callie. Straight to it.
All right, let's just get to it. We've got an awesome show. So, Callie, if you could please do the intro and invite our guest in.
Yes, and, quickly, hi, Sai from Florida, and then hi, Eric from Minnesota, and yes, we do have matching hair colors now, so,
You know, we always had matching hair color before, and then someone decided to go red, and then I decided to go brunette, like darker, and we're back to being blondes somewhat.
yeah. And if you see ads, please watch them, okay? Alright, this is part of supporting, okay?
That's
We're gonna
right.
keep drilling this in. Alright, so today we have a special guest joining us. It won't just be the two of us talking crazy. So we have singer and songwriter Maiyia Vwj with us today. She is working on her third album to be launched next month, and over the next couple of weeks, we are actually gonna be doing coverage with her directors, for her music videos that are gonna be in her album. And so we are starting today off kicking with a special one-on-one with Maiyia. And so with that, I'm going to bring her on.
Hello. Hello, everyone.
How are you?
I'm doing so good. I'm excited to be here. How's everyone doing?
Good. I'm good. Thank you. Callie, how are you?
I am doing great. Glad to be back.
I know.
Thank you guys
Our-
so much for having me.
Yeah, thank you for coming on. We know you've got a busy schedule, so just giving us some time, we really appreciate that. So thank you.
Hi,
So
Marcy. Sorry.
go
I'm
ahead.
just saying hi. I'm just saying
Oh.
hi to people saying hi to us. So
All right, so Maiyia, let's just kind of dive right in. How did you get started on singing?
So, like, if you've seen a lot of my interviews, like my story always stays the same.
Mhm.
I started singing at a young age. I was lucky enough to be put into a lottery school. So it was a lottery system, and I got selected from a regular elementary school to attend a performing arts school here in Fresno. So I was very fortunate because not everybody got into that school. That school, as we know, is called Baller Talent today, and they specialize in like singing, art, dancing, anything that has to do with performance and arts. So I was very, very lucky. Starting off music, of course, I didn't know anything about singing. I was just like, so of course, when they sent the paper home to my parents, got to fill out your paper, right? Got pick you got elective class. They never filled it out, of course, because we didn't know any better. So they just put me into choir. It was like a perfect accident, you know. They put me into choir. I remember going in. I was like, why is everyone singing their names, clapping? You know, it was just very odd to me as an immigrant child, right? It was just not what we would normally see. And from there, like, I just started singing. I picked it up and I was in choir ever since, from third grade all the way to like senior year in high school. So that's how I started singing.
That's awesome. I feel like you're right. Not a lot of people get selected to be a part of those programs. So that's exciting to to know and actually see it come to fruition and look at you now, right? I think that's done a lot. So that's great.
So let's jump into just like your process for doing your own music. Do you write your music? How does that process even start? I always am curious because I never know if, like, again, if you create the beats first or you write the song, or how does that even work, right? Like, do you just like, like, is there a theme or like a story that you go off of? Like, what is your process and how do you even write your own music?
Man, if I can answer that in one simple answer, it would be all of the above, really, because there are so many ways to write music. Either you're drawing inspiration from your own life, your own hurt and struggle, or from somebody else's, right? So for me personally, in terms of writing like a melody and then creating like lyrics, because I play music, I play guitar, it goes hand in hand.
Mm.
So I'm able to do both at the same time, where I'm like singing and then I'm playing a melody and I'm also singing lyrics at the same time. So that is definitely a plus for being a musician. But for on the other spectrum, you can also write with just lyrics first, and then find like a beat and then make it fit. Or you can find a beat and then find words to make it fit. So I've done it all ways. Like all my music has been done differently, but the main way of how I do music is with acoustic style, of starting with just kind of like almost freestyling, and just letting the feels come out, and it just goes from there, and it just comes out of me. And like, I don't really know how to explain how I do it. It just naturally happens for me.
That's awesome. I'm always so like Kelly, because you know how like you write poems and stuff. I always wonder if it's like similar to that where good you like show and then getting muham you know?
Yeah,
Yeah, it
that's
can work that
true.
way.
Yeah, like when I write poems, it's like usually like two strings of like two lines, and then I base it off of that. So do you do that too? Like, do you is it a chord? Like, do you play a chord and you're like, ooh, like that sounds good. Like I'm never.
Yeah. I'll find like some chords that go really good together, like some standard chords. And then so if you have something like in your heart that you're like, oh, I want to say this, and then quickly and then it just goes and it just comes out.
Mm.
And it's like for me, it's like almost like it's layering. You're just layering it down, bringing it down, and it's just pouring out. So for me, it just comes out naturally. And then I would say that you do get a lot of writer's block, just like all writers, even as a poet, because in music, like in like just like poetry, it is just like poetry. Of course, we want it to rhyme, right? We want it to have a
Right.
theme. You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's very, very hard. And there are a lot of artists out there that they are so talented, like they're so good at singing and doing covers, but they can't write songs. And that's where it's like it takes away from you as an artist as well, because when you can write songs and you can do music, oh, it's so much easier. It goes hand in hand. Yeah. So
Yeah.
it is poetry. It is, and
Yeah.
it is art. It definitely is storytelling. It's all of the above.
Yeah. How long does it typically take you to like finish a song, like once you start?
Oh gosh, I'm a procrastinator. If you scroll through like my recordings on my phone, there are
Yeah.
like I think like 100 plus like songs are not completed. It's just because I
Wow.
have a feel for something, and something comes to my mind, and then I'll record it, and then I'll finish like the first verse and the chorus, and then the second verse, I'm like, dang, so I'll wait on it. And then I'll start on a new one. So
Mm.
if it's a song that I'm really passionate about, or if it's something that's like a burning desire, I can finish it in like just a couple of hours, and I can have it done. Versus there
Wow.
are some songs where it's like, dang, I need more inspiration. Like, where am I gonna find? What else am I gonna say? So
Yeah.
usually for me, it's that second verse where you already established what you're saying, and then what the chorus is like the main part of the song, and now you have to say something else. You have to say something else that ties it in. So it becomes like this loop, that makes this beautiful picture, right? So it is very hard, and it's so time consuming that before, when I was young and I was single and I was lonely, I could sit for hours and hours and just write and
Yeah.
play. Now, as like a married woman with kids and a career, I can only do it for so long until something like just disrupts everything. So its process is slower. But when I was younger, I could do it for hours through the night. So it was
Yeah.
something that just kept burning in you. And once it gets going, it just keeps going and going. And then I'll go for like a really long time where I just don't do anything. And then it'll start all over again like that.
Yeah.
Do you have any songs where you look back and you're like, oh, I should have like said this instead, or I wish I can fix it or something. Do you ever have that?
Oh God, so much, especially so many songs because I have songs that I've written when I was like 16 that people still ask me about to this day. Like they'll be like, "Hey, when are you gonna release this song?" And even the songs that I did like already put out there that I wrote a long time ago when I was younger, okay, the stuff that you
Mhm.
say, it was kind of like, you know, I could have said it better, you know. So I always think about it. Sometimes there are verses and lines where I'm like, dang, I shouldn't have said that. I should have said this, you know.
Yeah. But I do love, like, I know that I've heard some music of some of our artists now where I'm like, this is so good. Like the melody is so perfect, like the message is so perfect, but they don't ever release the song. So it's like I want to hear it, but they won't play it or it's not on. So do you have a lot of those songs as well where it's like finished, but you're undecided and you're just like, I don't know if I should release this or put this on an album or release it as a single, or is it just like in the back pocket burner somewhere? No one will
Um,
ever hear it.
I can imagine some artists because when you release a new song, you're so vulnerable, you know, and you
Mhm.
try to like so a lot of
Yeah.
artists like they have all these songs in the like you said the back burner and they don't release it. For me, like I release all of them, like and because I have so many, so
Yeah.
if I don't release them, I'll forget about it, you know. So
Yeah.
for me, I'll rack up like 10 plus songs and I'll filter them out and then it'll be an album, and I could do that within like a year. I couldn't get that done. But
Mhm.
I think one of the reasons why too that people don't really release anything and make it like official too is because production rates are so expensive now. And when you do
Mhm.
want to put out something, you want it to sound professional. You want it to sound good. But if you're just at home on a mic, you know, and you're just the quality of it isn't like studio, and I can hear you go high, okay. It's like you kind of want to wait for the opportunity to where you get it produced and it's so good that it makes it sound so much better, you know. So I can see that being a problem, especially for some artists that don't have like the financial support or the sponsors. They have to put that on a back burner until they can like make it into something and like to make it blossom, you know, before they share it with the world.
Yeah. So before we go into talking about production, which I think is a really important question, I don't want to forget about something that you mentioned earlier about having your husband and kids now, right? I think that's really important as either Hmong woman who is married with children. How are you balancing your singing career with just family?
It is really hard. It is really hard, but I am very fortunate. I'm very
Yeah.
fortunate because I have a supportive husband. I have a
Mhm.
like support system. Like my parents are supportive of me. They've always been supportive of me doing music. Even though I'm married, they never once told me, "Oh, come on, you know, never heard my parents ever say that to me. So because of the support system that I have, it makes it a lot easier. But at the same time, like I'm pulling out my hair all the time because I can't. It's so hard with kids, and my kids are little, so it is really hard, but at the same time, you look at them and they inspire you more too. So
Oh,
as much
no.
as it is harder, it is also like it draws you to do it for a different purpose versus when you were young, single, lonely, titulu, you know, so different, right?
Oh.
All right, let's jump into talking about your third album. So you've released two other albums before this, and so how is this one different? And maybe talk about too, like the type. Has the songs changed a little bit, or do you still, is this third album? What should we be expecting? Like, is it still about love? And does your husband look at you weird when you sing sad songs?
I always tell him like I won't write a song about cheating because you know I'm not for that. I always
That's hilarious.
but you know, sometimes you gotta give the people what they want to hear too, you know, and it's
Mhm.
other people's stories. It's not just because, oh, I'm this artist, I can't sing about that. You're singing somebody else's story too, right? But back to your question, yes, my album, this third album is very, very different in terms
Mhm.
of production is different because I'm using different producers. Okay. So producing music, like the people that you go to that produce your music, it has a big impact on how your album is going to sound, right? So the first two album I did use like the same producer, you know, so you're always going to be getting like, you know, similar sounds, similar genre style. So with this one, I took a different approach in songwriting as well. Usually I would
Mm.
create the song, write the song, right back to that songwriting that we're talking about, and then have the producer create the melody for me and have them build around my song that has already been done. Versus this time, I opened up to trying new ways of writing music, like finding a beat that I'm like, hey, this is good. And then I'm like, what do I want to say when I hear this beat? So then I'm doing things backwards. So I'm challenging myself to do things differently and to do things with a different producer as well. So you guys will be hearing that it is going to be different from my first two albums. My first two albums are more like singer-songwriter style type. With my third one, you are going to be seeing more like ethnic sounds, more dance music, and just completely different in terms of production. And even the range that I sing, because if you guys can tell, I am an alto singer, meaning that I sing low ranges, but I have soprano notes as well. So in my first two album, I was kind of like more just come in my comfortable range. But with this album, I did reach more into my soprano range. So you are going to be seeing a difference in the range of my singing as well.
I was gonna say, girl, like I could not karaoke your songs. You're one of the ones where, like, I would try, even if it's like low, and when you hit those high notes, I'm just like, I cannot sing her songs. Like, it's not like the regular, ones where I can sing it. Like when my sister and I would try to sing your song, she can, but I'm like, I can't reach that note. I'm not even gonna sing it. So
That's good to know. Yeah, I try
that's
to
a
add a lot of
compliment. Yeah.
dynamics. Yeah, we need a lot of dynamics, especially in Hmong music. And for me as a songwriter, I have a lot of American influence in my music, as you guys probably can tell. And because I feel like, and this is an honest truth as a musician, I feel like, especially even Kutia, and back in the day, like we all sound kind of the same, right? It's very like mono.
Yeah.
The range is very safe, right? We stay in our safe range, and we can almost predict what we're going to sing next, right? And I feel like that's how Hmong music has been for the longest time. But with my music, I try to add more dynamics. So you are not going to expect that I'm going to do this here, but I'm going to do it here, and then I'm going to bring it back down. So it is a little bit harder to sing, but at the same time, it creates those different sounds. So it doesn't always sound very predictable, and like every other song that we've been hearing for generations and generations.
Yeah. That's good. It gives people an opportunity, aka people, meaning myself, to practice my own singing skills inside the house only, of course.
That's awesome.
All right, so let's talk about your album and kind of the direction that you're going with, just some of the music videos that you're putting together. So you have 4 different directors that are working on various songs of yours on this third album. So um, how and why did you decide to go this route instead of whatever other things that you were deciding on? Like, what was your strategy and why did you decide to go with this one?
And I feel like I got very lucky because I met somebody, which is the executive director. That's somebody that believed in me and wanted to do something out of the norm, right? This is not a typical way to release an album, not even for like mainstream. Nobody does like short films for all their songs, right? So we wanted to do something different, of course, and also to highlight other art, like other talents in our community, like videographers, actors, actresses. Like we are a community of people that with talent, and when we come together, it brings everything out, right? So I feel like when by taking this approach, and there's a lot of collaboration involved, and different brains, different directors having different ideas. It's outside of norm. It's not like my box of what this song is. It's like, oh, they hear it, but they hear it like wider, like broader. So I think it opens up the horizon more for more ideas, more things to happen that hasn't happened yet. Because of course, like we always see those videos where it's like the typical videos where it's like, oh, I'm singing in the background, and I have these videos too, and there's 2 actors, and then it goes back to me, and then there's 2 actors. So we wanted to do something that had a lot of range, that included more people, more talent, and just something completely different. So it was hard for me to grasp the idea at first. When I was proposed to me, I was kind of like, I don't know, like that sounds really crazy. Who does that, right? Nobody has done that. But the more I opened up my mind and my, just being open-minded to it, I feel like this can be something that can highlight everyone in our community, and we can be something bigger together. So I'm really excited about taking this approach and working with different directors.
I
Yeah,
love
I
it.
think that's gonna be a lot of fun just to see again, like, because I know you have directors from kind of working everywhere, and so probably gonna be using different people too. And I think it's fun to kind of see the different actors and actresses versus just having, one or two that is throughout. So where do you want to go with your music? Where do you see it going? What can we expect from you, in the next month, and then just, over the course of your music career?
So the funny thing I always tell people is like, "Oh, this is gonna be my last album." Like I said that like every album. But I don't. There's just a fire in me that like I can't put it out, and I feel like if I don't do this now, like like you and I always tell my husband this too, that I'm not trying to be like I'm gonna make it to mainstream. That's not even my goal. That's gonna be for someone else, someone younger, someone better. And it's gonna happen. It's just not right now. But what I'm doing is I'm keeping our music alive. I'm keeping it going, so we're paving the way. We're paving the way. We're making it easier and easier for the next person. We're opening that way and we're making it possible. We're letting these younger people dream bigger. So for me, it's like just to keep it going. And every time I say I wanted to stop, I was gonna stop at this album and this album. Like somebody would be like, "Don't stop! You're inspiring me to do this. You're inspiring me to do that." And it just fuels you. It fuels you to do more, and you to see that, wow, what I'm doing is not just like I'm not just saying these words and singing this word and putting it out there, but I'm actually moving people towards a direction. And being in our Hmong community now, y'all, that like we're not that big, okay? Everybody almost knows everybody. I can honestly say all of us singers, we almost know everyone. We've seen each other around, we've at least talked once. Middle community, y'all. So
Yeah.
I feel like the more, especially the artists that have been around. I've been around for a little bit longer than a lot of these younger artists, and probably people don't even know that. But the reason for me to keep going is just paving that way and just hoping that one day, like, someone's gonna break through and they're gonna make it. And even if it's not me or it's not someone that I think is gonna make it, it's gonna happen one day. So that's why I keep going. That's why I've still kept going. And it's a lot of it is for our language too, because honestly, como Salona, if you take out music, if you take out like films, what do we have? Like, what do we have as a group of people? Like, do we still have our culture? What's holding us together? Music is a very strong part of holding us together, and that's one of the reasons why too that I have not stopped, because I feel like by doing this, we're also preserving our language and also teaching our younger generations our language and preserving it further and further on. Even if they don't know it anymore, at least they can look back on it, right? So yeah, so that's where I'm headed. I may stop soon. I don't know yet. We'll see how it goes. But I hope that I am at least, someone's looking up and saying that, hey, these artists they're paving the way for us.
I
Yeah.
love that, and I think just recognizing, like, I think success is different for different people, right? It's not just like getting super big. Like, not everybody wants to get super big. I think a lot of people do want to make impact, and recognizing, like where you want to be is really important.
Yeah. And I think using it as a way to preserve our language too, I think that's so amazing. I know that I have nieces and nephews who are half Hmong, a Lachitza Hailumona, but like they love listening to Hmong music, depending on the
Oh,
artist.
that's
And then
awesome.
Lachitza Hailumong, but they know how to sing parts of the song in Hmong, but they have no idea what they're saying. But it's okay because I think as they get older, they'll learn, and they'll remember knowing how to sing that song or those words, the lyrics in that song. So I think it's a great way to preserve language. And honestly, it's like it music is just so beautiful in every way. So I'm happy that you're wanting to continue to make music for our community. I think that's amazing, and we love your music. So
Thank you.
okay, so obviously we have put a post, well, we shared a post onto our page today, and it had a ton of comments. I think anyone who shared this post also got lots of comments. And so we kind of want to hear your thoughts on it, but it's from none other than our very own amazing Miss Jami Kyung. And I will read her comment just in case some people kind of forgot what she said, but it says, I'd like to say something very honest to the younger generation. Sometimes people say to go after your dreams, etc., which is great, but I would also like to point out there's no money in Hmong music. Go be a dentist, a doctor, a small business owner, or anything else that can support you financially, but Hmong music cannot and have not been able to support many of the most famous singers in the history of Hmong music. Yes, have fun and learn and experience the creativity process. But again, there is no money in Hmong music. What are your thoughts on that?
No money. Honestly, 우시다고 관계를 깨고 듣지 못해, okay? Because it takes so much money to make an album, to make one song. It takes so much money. So if you don't make anything at all, like you're really doing it for the passion. And Jami is right in terms of, like go further yourself in other areas too. Just because like this is your dream, right? This has always been one of my dreams as well. But that doesn't mean you can't have another dream. You can still be a doctor and you can still sing. You can do both. But it's to pursue yourself and move yourself to the next level. So if you do want to make music, you have that financial background to support you to the next level too. So I feel like it goes hand in hand. I think if you want to bet all your eggs into one basket and you just want to be like a Hmong singer and you hope that pays all your bills and you have a nice mansion and all that stuff, like right now, I would say no. Like that probably won't happen right now.
Yeah.
But in the future that can change, because if you look 10 years ago, Hmong music isn't what it is now. We can actually make music off YouTube, right? We can monetize it. We can do that. Hay có tao như lần đó nó là tao chỉ tao bởi mấy cái artist của hành gia là những tao thế nào là những tao thế là thế nên hữu thế okay. But it just really matters on what your goals are. Like, do you want to go full time? Like, if you want to go full time, you're gonna have to do more. You're gonna have to make it a full-time job. But if you're like, oh, I just want to do this as a hobby, yeah, dude, like get a degree, go look for something else to do. But in terms of like no, like there's no future in Hmong music, I think that's something that us in this present day, like we can change that. We can change that going forward. But it comes down to the people, really. Because if we support each other enough to where we can like rise each other up, that can be a possibility in the future. But as of right now, she's right. As of right now, you need to but it is still a side hobby. But like I said, it really falls into our generation. Like, do we want to change that, and how can we change that? So I believe that it can be something greater if we believe it. I think so much as a Hmong artist, we will not ever be able to do mainstream. Okay, like like as a Hmong artist. But if you as an artist who is Hmong, right? This is two different things, okay? You're an artist, but you're Hmong. You can do mainstream. If you go into like, you know what the public is listening to, we can still go. But don't wait for the community to support you. If you want to go that big, you do it. Don't sit around and say, oh, the Hmong people don't want to support me, I'm not going to do it. Don't wait on it. You go for it. You do it, and then the community will follow when you're there. So I would say I agree, and then at the same time, I feel like we can change it. It's something that it's in our hands.
Yeah. Well, and I think too with all the different social media platforms and like you said, the monetization and stuff like that, like anything is possible. I look at like Wavuna, right? Like from overseas. She's like putting out a music video like one or two music video a week. So homegirl's working. I mean, that's like I don't know if this is her full-time job or not, but it takes a lot of time and effort to just produce the music, but also on top of that, a music video to enjoy, So I think in certain cases, depending on where you live in the world, you could be generating enough money to make it a living. But I think in the United States, it's going to be tough.
It really is. Yeah, because we can't really do it full time. Like I can't release a video every week. I can't like put out a new song every 2 weeks, right? It's too hard and it's very expensive here to do it. So in terms of some of them are living like good doing this. They're doing it, okay?
Yeah.
And for us, it's just that we have to hustle more, and it's gonna take more money to make it happen, and more people to listen, to support it, to make it happen. But I think there's a possibility that one day we can do it. It's just a matter of consistency, us doing it enough, because we can't do it enough. That's why we don't get enough.
Yeah.
And then I think like with like even makeup artists, like they're branching out and doing different things too, right? So it's not just the music video itself. Like they're managing their brand of themselves, doing sponsorships, like doing stuff that's outside of music too. So I definitely think that those are different avenues that, I think as an artist, as a brand, like you have to think about too. It's not just the making music, but it's like everything else that encompasses who you are and your influence with that.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
totally agree with that. Yeah, because you're going to get to a point in every great artist, every great mainstream artist, you're going to get to a point where I always joke around, you think you'll expire, right? Like your time, like even the great Britney Spears, right? She was so grand at one point, and you're up and then you're going to be down. So you have to be able to utilize that platform that you gained through all the momentum of you coming up to merge that into something bigger or something that's going to take you forward, that it may not be music, like you said, but it may be like you're a brand of something, or you become a business of something, or you become like a nonprofit going towards something, a bigger purpose, a bigger goal. So that platform doesn't just die there when you stop. Like you can use that platform and become something bigger and greater too.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I see a lot of artists now. I'll use Yasmi as an example, right? She started doing beauty products, and I think that's been kind of her focus more than her singing now, right? So she knows that at some point, kind of like what you said, at some point you're going to have to like branch out and do something.
Sorry,
So
my
you know what I
son's in
mean?
here.
So I feel like you do have to like build your platform, like you said, build your
Yes,
platform, and then pivot a little when it's needed.
Yeah,
that's
especially
really
like when you're like if you're well known, then if you want to start doing other stuff, then it's a little bit easier versus so like I would say definitely not like pursue like creative things that's gonna get you well known. And I think that comes with it certain privileges when people know you and they see your face and things like that and are familiar. There's definitely more like safety when you then try to pivot and do something else. So I think that that's where you can really kind of gain that momentum if artistry isn't something that you're able to support you full time.
Yeah.
definitely yes.
Is there any questions that we
Um.
missed? Let's see.
Well,
Close the door.
There was this
This is
question.
what happens when I work.
So we have this question from Jeff Zhang asked earlier, and he said, "Why does some artists in the U.S. nowadays have overseas artists write them a song, but don't give out credit to the overseas who took time writing them a song?" And I think I saw a reply to that comment about how if they pay them for it
ghostwriting.
as like a ghostwriter, then you wouldn't
Yes.
necessarily. And I think that's probably true for like writing in general too. That if you have paid somebody, then it's not necessarily like you have to give them. But I will let the artist here answer and not make
Yeah,
assumptions.
so that's a good question too, because a lot of people now like the chicken shong the mong, the chicken shong mong. You need go. Oh, sorry, let me kick this guy outside.
You're fine.
Sorry, guys. Yeah, so I would say it depends on your contract with that person. If you're paying them a big chunk of money, you don't like, and they say you don't need to mention me, you don't have to mention them. But if they're like, well, I want you to mention me because I want to be able to provide more services to other artists, and you promote me, and then you have some kind of agreement. Of course, you do want to give them credit, but it varies by people, and by like, so you have contract,
Rainbow.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think there was one that I think of the answer, Gila, but I don't know if you by Pao King Yang, Callie. Yeah. Do you encourage artists to keep pursuing their dream as artists to make it big as a career, or recommend they have a backup alternative as a career? I think a big
yeah.
but in case you have anything else to add.
I will say this, like if you're gonna go mainstream, like mainstream where everybody, the world's gonna hear you. You have to, then you will have to pursue that as a career. But if you're gonna be a Hmong artist and you're singing Hmong music, you definitely have a backup alternative as a career, because okay. But if you want to make it as a big career, and if you are really good and you can do it, then pursue it. Just like how we have some Hmong women now that are mainstream, even some of our Hmong brothers too that are on the TV screen, right? They pursue it mainstream.
Yeah.
I think we have to like remember. I mean, as well, that a lot of these, you know, like Mika people that make it really big too, that they took a long time, a lot of sacrifices to even,
Yes.
you know, like by the time you bala, like they spend, you know, like 6 years, right, from very young age, like pursuing things. Like this is a
Yes.
little bit different, but you know, I know Steve Harvey talked about how, you know, he was like 38, I think, before he even, you know, ever like made it big. And before that, he was like living in his car and like so really struggling, but you don't see that. And now you just see Steve Harvey as he is, and you think that that's been his whole life. But I think that, you know, because we know, like you said, the community is so small, and it feels like you follow, you know, but just know that sometimes your struggles are what's going to prepare you for, you know, things that we don't even know is
Oh
possible.
yeah. 거의 시도 못 서로省得嘅，啲都what those people that make it all the way so big, they've done so much, you know, so many sacrifices, so much money, so much time invested, you know, and that's how they made it all the way, you know. And so if we're not willing to do the same, we're not gonna be able to get there, you know. Even in our Hmong community ourselves, like we have to make a lot of like sacrifices and investments that go into it. Even in a small community, it's hard. But going mainstream and going big like that, like just like how you said with Steve Harvey, I mean, they some of these artists were like you said, like homeless, like you know, living in their car, like living paycheck to paycheck, hoping that they're gonna get the big break. You know, they go all in. You know, and we got to go all in if we want to go big.
Yeah, for sure. All right, so we have this question from Maiyia Vwj. Do you have a day job?
Yes, I do. I am a businesswoman. Yeah, so I own a permanent makeup salon here in Fresno. So I do.
Oh, okay.
So I'm always so thankful, and I always say I'm so happy because I've always wanted to be an artist, and here I am. I'm doing music like I want, and I'm also like you know coloring on people's faces, but with a needle, of course. Yeah. So my day job is to run a business, you know. So yeah, how you rely on more music sooner get each you know. So my main thing would be my business, my permanent makeup business, and then secondary would be my music.
Yeah. Well, for those who didn't know, now you know. She is a permanent makeup artist.
So go visit her in
I
Fresno.
know. All right, and I think I don't think there's any other questions as of now. I think that was the
Okay.
last one, but
We do
did
have
some.
questions. Yeah. So we do have questions from our posts that we did earlier today. And Hai Zhong asked, what kind of support would you like to see from the Hmong community? And do you have enough support now?
In terms of support, I feel like if you're gonna wait on support, then you'll never ever get enough of it, you know, because you'll always need support. I feel like the best way to support your Hmong artists is really to like purchase their albums, you know, watch their videos on YouTube, you know, and follow them, go see them at the shows that are coming up. I mean, there are people that spend like thousands of dollars to go see a mainstream artist, but complain about like a $50 ticket to a Hmong concert.
Yes.
Why is it that we can't make it? Because bitchy high day, you know, bitchy satay, but why is it that bitchy high? Because you guys spend $1,000 over here and you won't even spend $50 to come watch like your Hmong artist, you know. So support is so big because you need to support, need to know, need to do your concert, need to buy your merchandise, support your artist, more recycle, you know. So please support. And I'm not saying support me, support everyone. The artists that you like. There will be artists that you don't like. You don't have to support them, but support the ones that you really, really like because everything goes a long way, especially when it comes to production and it comes to making music videos. It all comes down to money. So please support your artists. If you're willing to go see like a concert that's so expensive, take like $50 to $100 to go see your Hmong artist and go enjoy that and show up, you guys. Just that all we need is for you guys to just show up.
Yeah,
that is so true. It's like demand and supply. You know, I think the more demand there is, you know, easier it is on the artists and you know even sharing and social media and stuff like that. Right? You get the hits, the views, the engagement, and of course we have like YouTube and Facebook now where you can monetize. But that does include the sharing, the commenting, the engagement.
So share and comment.
Yes, that's big too.
Subscribe. Yeah,
And
like
it's
I think
free.
all of
It's
those
free.
things
Yes.
definitely adds up and really helps when people are creating like you said, you know, it's in order for because when you do your music video, going take so there's a lot of costs. Like even though sometimes some people feel like, oh, like these people are making all this money. Well, actually, you know, like it is US dollars, right? So US dollars is a little bit different from going on, you know, you know,
Not worth this much.
yeah, yeah, and so it's
Mhm.
just like you still want to be able to pay other people fairly, which means that
Yes.
it's cut out from what you're making even. And so, you know, on YouTube, you can have million views, but you need all those million views to actually even make anything. And so
Yeah.
that really helps.
Yeah.
We
Yeah,
have
I think I was gonna say, I think you bring up a really good point about like spending a couple of dollars to go support your Hmong artists, because I remembered when I hosted a couple of concerts here in Portland, like and people are like complaining about how expensive it was. And I'm like,
Yes.
yeah, but you know, like not only that, like I don't ever negotiate costs with artists because I just feel like if you think that you are worth 2,000 and that's the price you give me, I will pay you $2,000. Like I'm not going to try to lowball you. I just don't think that that's a fair thing to do, right? Because some of these artists, this is all they do for a living. And that's all they do. So it wouldn't be fair to kind of negotiate that. So I always found that to be non-negotiable. Whatever price we put on the tickets, that's really just reimbursing and paying for the artists
Really.
pretty
Yeah.
much, right? We like I made $0. But people don't understand that because they just feel
Yeah.
like $30 is too much. But it's like,
Mhm.
yeah, but you spend like 55 on a 300 level to go see like Kevin Hart or
Right.
somebody, you know? So to me, it's like it's really it's not a lot to ask for. I think even when Kelly and we were doing some fundraising and we brought some artists up here, we actually lost money because we wanted to pay the artists what they were worth, and then we took the loss because a lot of people felt like it was too expensive. So I just feel like support comes in all um different ways, right? So like if you can't make it to the event, still share it. Encourage
Yeah.
your friends who are in town to go to support the artists. You know, it's always fun when you are around a lot of Hmong people. At least I think it is. So I'm all
Yeah,
for
and like I think if you don't like it's hard to throw parties after parties like year after year too, right? Like you can't say, "Oh, I'm going to go next year when I like the artist." You know, it's like, well,
yeah.
next year nobody wants to like as a person who does events, like you don't want to do it next year, you know,
I
like
know.
Yeah.
You
I'm
don't
going to
want
lose
that.
money in that. I know. And so it's just like
Hmm.
that support has to happen all the time, right? And
Yeah.
again, like yeah, $30 isn't a lot.
Yeah.
And so
And you may not sing the same song that you would be singing this year versus next year
Yeah.
because your third album's coming out. You want to
Right.
sing the new songs, you know? So
Exactly.
So we have a question here from Jack. Maiyia, do you take part in being a director, writer, etc. in your music videos, or do you have your videographer lead majority of the project?
Okay, so with my previous music videos that you see me working, especially with like Hyatt Desert Entertainment, we work together. And but for me as a singer songwriter, we of course we have like a vision for our songs that we want to portray out as well. But also, I always leave that door open for my videographers to be creative because they may be able to do something better than what I have in mind too. And a lot of the times that's the case, you know, too. So with this project, specifically for my third album, I'm letting my directors take most of the creativity and I'm letting them run with it. And I'm trusting that it's just going to be amazing and it's going to be different from what I normally do. So we have to allow these people in their line of work, you know, to really flourish as well. So to allow them to have control too. And I know what they're doing. Like they'll check in and here and there too. And I'll be like, yeah, that's really cool. That's very different. That's not something I would have thought of, you know? So something different. So definitely breaking barriers by letting them do and direct and write that music video for me.
mhm,
That's awesome.
mhm. I love it.
Was there? Okay, we do have a
Yep.
question here from Chang. So Chang says, "Is your music available digitally? Seems like Hmong artists sort of struggle to adapt with the times and are still making CDs. I'd actually support artists if they have albums and music available for download."
Such a good question. I am so on board with that. That's a really good question. I am not doing any CDs with this third album because you know. So duplicating CDs, nobody listens to CDs anymore. Even these cars nowadays, there's no CD player, right? I use my CD player to hold my phone. Like I have a little phone holder on it. So nobody uses CDs anymore. Some people do ask because they like to collect. Okay, that and then that's really not worth you as an artist to drop all this money to make these copies. So I feel that the way that we're going now is all going to be either YouTube, everything's going to be on YouTube to be streamed on like digital platforms such as like Spotify, Google Play, Apple Music. So with me, like I've always been having my music on those platforms, but with this third album, it's all going to be digital, and it's not going to be any more CDs because like I said, nobody makes CDs, and everyone tell you more, like
Yeah.
the new girl got to haul it, it's just a lot of work. So yes, I believe that all of the more artists going forward, they're probably not going to do as many CDs anymore too. So it's mainly going to be digital or just straight up YouTube.
Yeah, and I think that everybody is slowly transitioning to it being digital. I know a couple of different Hmong artists where like the Chichomo CD. Yeah, so I think we're slowly transitioning and we are adapting to this new age of how we engage with our audiences and get things across. So I do feel like we are slowly transitioning that.
Yes, and the funny thing is, I've gotten some CDs from some like artist friends, and to this day, like I'm still looking for a CD player because I don't have a CD player anymore. It's not even in my laptop anymore. So
Yeah.
yeah, usually you do it to support them, but you can also support them both ways as well. If you want to do collection, you can always buy it, and then you can also do digital downloads as well. It's really helpful, even though like you said, like you're getting the digital where it's in your phone. You can listen to it anytime you want. It's super easy access, and then if you want to collect, you can always do that too. So you can always do
Yeah.
both.
Oh my gosh. So can I say something and show you guys really quick? I had to pull out my old ass laptop. The thick ass one that has the CD player right here because I had bought a CD a while back, a Gojima CD player. So I had to pull this darn thing out
Exactly.
the other day because I was like, do I still even have the charger for this darn thing? Will it still power up? And it did. And I listened to her CD because I bought it like last year. Like I finally had pulled
Exactly.
it out. It's so funny
Yes.
because I literally just pulled it out last week. So
Yes.
I'm a CD collector too, but I understand the new times are here, and we do need to change it up a
Yes.
little bit.
Times have changed. Yes.
Yeah, for sure.
Awesome. And our second question that we have addressed was about Jami. And so if you're just catching us now, we did talk about Jami and what she said, her post. And so if you're watching now, wait for the live to air, and then you can go back and just listen to that. Before we leave, do you have any last things to say to your followers?
I just want to thank everybody for just chiming in, watching. Thank you for all those questions and just being active on this podcast. It means a lot just to have the community just chime in. I just want to thank everybody, and I will be coming up there to Minnesota for the Hmong Nouveau.
Yes,
Yes,
so
I'm
will
so
we.
excited. Yes, and I will have a surprise performance too as well, with one of the artists that I'm collaborating with in my third album. I'm also collaborating with two artists as well, so that's something very different and exciting. And then this week coming up, right after a couple of days from now, I'll be coming up for the Fresh Tradition fashion show as well. I'll be performing, so if you guys are in the Minnesota area, please come out and support these local designers. They're so talented, and just come out. There are so many talented Hmong people that it doesn't have to be a singer or somebody that like a DJ or anything. could be like people just like that designing clothing for us. Come out and support the event. It'll be really fun, and I look forward to seeing everybody there. And I believe I'll be at Unison this Friday in Minnesota. So if you guys are not doing anything, I've never been there. So come, say hi and just see what's going on. Like, what's good about Minnesota. So.
And that's this Friday? Is that what you said?
This Friday. It's so
This
soon.
Friday. Okay.
Yeah, so come on.
Oh my goodness. I did have a quick question. I know we talked about it a little bit, but with the 4 music videos that you have with the different directors, and I don't know if you can even talk about like album release dates or things like that, but in case you want to say anything about that.
Yes, I can. Everything is just kind of out in the open now since we've been we've been chatting and being a little bit more public about this. But my album is set to release during Thanksgiving, which is like 1 week right after Hmong Nouveau. So you guys can expect it'll be on all digital platforms, and then we will be releasing all of the short film music videos on YouTube as well. So each director is taking on about 2 songs. So you will be seeing, so either they're going to be one short film or they're going to be like separate music videos. I don't know yet. It's going to be a surprise for me too. So be on the lookout. There's going to be a lot of content on my YouTube channel. So feel free to subscribe and follow it. So there's going to be a lot of things coming up, new music, a lot of like 2 collaborations I'm super excited about with these artists. So you have to, subscribe to see all of that.
Awesome.
Is your music on Spotify as well, or?
It is. So if you go on Spotify, you'll see my first 2 albums on there too.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. And if you guys are interested to know about what the directors are doing or who the directors are, stay tuned. We have them coming up on our show. We are interviewing and talking to all of the directors one by one. So you guys get to know who they are and kind of their thought process behind these short stories, music videos. And so we'll be bringing them on sometime between now and when the album releases. So.
Yep, we actually have a duo tomorrow at 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. So come back here tomorrow. We'll be talking to them and really excited to kind of see and hear from them and their backgrounds and also, what they've been working on for Maiyia. And so thank you everyone for being here with us today, for being part of this conversation, for supporting. And like Maiyia said, having questions and engaging with us. I think that is so important for us all to have these conversations to talk about what's happening in our community and supporting one another. Of course, here at All That Talk, we believe that conversations drive change and change starts with you. We will see y'all tomorrow.
Bye. Good night.
Good night.